most impactful memories I think that I've had is as board members, we have the opportunity to go out and volunteer in the community. And one of those times that I remember the most is the time that I got to go to Catholic Community Services Food Bank for the first time and to serve and to work and to help those people as they put food in their pantries and to see the opportunity that we had to change lives and to help lives and to make life better for people. Another experience that I have had and enjoyed is heading the committee that has been the people to choose the last two presidents of United Way to make sure that we have a sustainable organization that carries on and to do the things that we need to. And I think the other thing that is just for me personally is the relationships that I've developed both in the community and in United Way, and to see and to help and to know the impact and the changes that it's making.
What I love about United Way is that United Way looks for areas of need in the community. It doesn't try to duplicate services that others are already providing. It supports others in their services and what they're doing, but then also looks for gaps and fills those gaps in a very meaningful way and creates real cohesion in the community by filling those gaps.
I love the people. They have the biggest hearts, and they're always being creative and coming up with great ideas to help the community and enrich the community. I've gone down to downtown area and gone door to door and talked to people and said, what are your needs? What are you worried about? What do you have? What don't you have? And out of that, we combined a lot of information and we were able to put some programs together. So everything that I've done with United Way has been great. I've been very fortunate.
One of my favorite memories of working at United Way was in our small little kitchen area. We had this small round table, and we used to call it the magic table because no matter how many people were sitting around it, it seemed like you could always fit one more. Somebody would come in, and we would just go in there often, have lunch together, and just gab. And I got to know a lot of people at United Way really well that way, and it was almost a magical time when we would just meet in there for lunch and talk and laugh and laugh and laugh, and just really good family atmosphere. And so I have fond memories of the magic table.
So I wanted to share a story from how I got involved with United Way at the very beginning. I was a teacher working with Ogden School District, and I was doing a lot of their school reform. We were doing something called Smaller Learning Communities, which then led into full service community schools, which led into Promise Neighborhoods, and we're back now working and doing a full initiative around full service community schools. So it really is, this is how I started doing the work, is I needed to get the business people, the community involved in schools because they weren't. And so I sent out invitations to every single person on the Chamber of Commerce list, which is like hundreds of people, right? Hundreds of organizations, businesses. And I remember when I did it, all the teachers in the school were like, oh, nobody's gonna show up and this is gonna be a fail and I don't know why you're doing this. And so I just said, I think it's the right thing to do. So put together this big meeting in the media center. We had all this food. I had a national expert there with me to talk, and 3 people showed up. But those 3 people were Bob Hunter from United Way, the mayor of Ogden, and the Standard Examiner. And so we had this wonderful discussion and talk about what we were doing. The next day I went back into the teacher's lounge. They all laughed at me and told me nobody would show up. And I said, are you kidding me? We had 3 people show up. And from those 3 people who showed up, all of the work, and that's where I think the work really started, was there. Bob Hunter walked into the room, and that could be like a joke, right? Bob Hunter walked into the room, and everything changed in Ogden. So that's the story I wanted to tell, because I think it really was the start of the collaboration that United Way is doing in the community with the school district, with all the community partners. That was a shift, and it was a shift in the culture of Ogden. And it started with really Bob Hunter walked into the room, and then everything changed.
The story I want to tell is yesterday I went to Odyssey Elementary School and they had an opening, a ribbon cutting of the first elementary family resource center at Odyssey Elementary in the Ogden School District. And it was just so inspiring to me because it seems like the work that Kate Badeau began with building relationships and creating the community school movement within the Ogden School District is still continuing, and that's actually the project that I worked on when I was at United Way about 8 years ago was the Ogden United Promise Neighborhood Initiative. And that was part of thinking about how you support families and students outside of school so they have the same opportunities as everybody else. And some of those supports were things that Kate worked on in her first grant for the Promise Neighborhood, and then I continued. And then now, even though I'm not at United Way anymore, I could see the evidence that the work continues and is just being so impactful for our community and the students in Ogden School District. So it was really exciting.
United Way helps nonprofits be more viable in the community. And I came to be affiliated with United Way 14 years ago when I worked for the YMCA of Northern Utah. And I was new to Utah. And the YMCA was new to Weber County. They recently had merged with the Ogden School District to provide after-school programs. And Ogden School District and the YMCA were hoping to build a facility in Ogden to help address the needs of students and families at the Lincoln Elementary School. And that capital campaign was around $800,000. And the YMCA was new to Weber County and didn't have a history of raising money in Weber County. And I remember my first meeting with Bob Hunter at United Way, and I was wondering, how United Way was going to help facilitate this process of embarking on a capital campaign. And for those of you who know Bob Hunter, you know that he's a connector. And through the mentoring and coaching and the networking and the sort of the assistance that Bob and the United Way had done, the YMCA was able to successfully raise that $800,000 to build a community family center at Lincoln Elementary School in 18 months. So they do practice what you see written, that they help nonprofits be more viable.
My earliest memory of United Way is about 2001 when I worked for the Boyer Company. Bob came into our office to help us set up our workforce campaign. At that time, the only thing I knew about United Way was the NFL commercials. And I thought, well, that's weird. I didn't know they were a local organization as well as this big, national NFL affiliated organization. But Bob introduced us to the program. I started contributing. Then about 10 years later, Bob approached me to think about serving on the board. It took a little bit to get everything lined up to get that to happen. And since then, I've watched the organization grow from just a handful of employees to an incredible service organization with a reach into so many areas in the community that have needs. It's been incredible to watch from Bob and Bob tutoring Tim and Julie and getting them ready for the leadership role that they've taken. And Tim took it to the next level and was very data focused. And now Julie has inherited that and expanded even beyond what I think Bob and Tim even imagined was possible, what I thought was possible. It's an incredible organization now, and that was started by Bob having a vision. And it's just an amazing thing to have been a part of.
A lot of things that had to do with community. I happened to be the lucky person who started what we called a farmer's market on Wednesday nights at the Oasis Community Garden on Monroe. And so we started that to help the neighborhood and bring the neighborhood together and to provide fresh food for those people in the neighborhood who were walking to the 7-Eleven, and for $1 they'd get a big hot dog and a Coke, and that would be their dinner. So we were able to bring in farmers and sell fresh produce and work with Topper's Bakery and bring in good baked goods, healthy baked goods. And it was every Wednesday night during the summer, and it was a great program.
What I love about United Way is that United Way stays true to its mission. However, it changes what it needs to do to achieve the mission based on the needs of the community. So as the community needs change and as time changes, United Way has been flexible enough to change how it achieves its mission, which is really remarkable.